Survivor 44 Week 10. We are nearing the end of the season now. We're getting pretty close. Probably a few episodes left after this week. And we're getting close. And we're just coming off of Kane being the next one sent to the jury. And we start off right off the bat, Frannie is not too happy about kind of being like left out of the vote. That's kind of what we end up dealing with right after Tribal. We get the whole aftermath of Kane getting voted out. And then we jump right to a challenge pretty quickly. So we're doing 2 challenges this week, and it's going to be a reward challenge and an immunity challenge. So we're doing 2 this week. And it's obviously all individual now. I'm glad we're not doing the splitting up teams and crap like that we did at the beginning of the merge. It was really silly. But we're doing 2 challenges this week. And this challenge, I think, was very telling towards the vote at the end of the episode, because it's really showing on who is very strong in these challenges. So we get the whole, like they do this like spinning challenge or whatever, and they have to like spin around and go through a course and be all dizzy and stuff. And ultimately, Frannie ends up winning the reward challenge. So she wins another challenge. That's I think they said it's like her 3rd individual like challenge since the merge. So she is winning a lot of these challenges. She is very, very good at these individual challenges. And that is very clearly a threat to a lot of people in the game. They're starting to notice finally. I noticed it a little while ago now, especially after the 2nd win, but Frannie is a big threat in challenges. She is doing very good with these. So now that is the kind of the talk of the town throughout the whole episode, is she is now this challenge threat. And she has to choose several people to go on the reward. It's basically just another meal reward, because that's all they do. It's just another meal reward. They'll go and stay the night or whatever. And she ends up choosing Carolyn, Lauren, Heidi to the reward. So she chooses all these like mothers. That's like something they go on about, some like all women, all mothers. I don't really get what that whole point was. It was kind of weird, and they kind of go on that tangent, and then they spend the night. They kind of talk a little bit. Carolyn kind of forms a bond with Frannie a little bit, and they become closer in the game. So now there's this kind of like alliance between those two. We do cut back to camp, and we get like some like weird stuff with Jam Jam, and I'm not disliking Jam Jam as much as I think I would this season. When we first saw him, I think he's actually one of the better players this season. I'm not really liking many of the people this season, to be completely honest. Like, I usually kind of have like a favorite player kind of in the season, and I don't really have one. I just don't. But Jam Jam, I would say, is probably one of the better players out there. But this whole thing of like they're doing the whole family letter thing this episode. So they're not doing the whole family visit anymore after COVID, all that stuff. Thank God. I hated seeing the family visits. I don't know if that's a controversial thing or not, but I have never liked the family visit stuff. I've never liked the family letter stuff either. I think the family visit and letter stuff is extremely ridiculous. I think it's cringe. I think it's boring and ridiculous. It's just hard to watch, and not for all like the sadness music, whatever they play. I just don't like watching it. I think it's really silly. Maybe it's just I guess I can't compare myself to it. I guess I don't know what I would do if I was out there for like 3 weeks only, and then suddenly I saw a family member or read some words from my family member. I guess I can't say I would totally know what I would do, but from just a viewer standpoint, sitting and watching it, like, these people have been out there for 3 weeks. And they haven't seen their family in 3 weeks. Maybe for some people it's a little bit too much, but you're out there for 3 weeks, and you're over here like bawling your eyes out over some letters. Like, I don't know, maybe it's a little insensitive of me. Oh well. I think it's extremely cringe, and it's just kind of hard to watch every time they do it. I'm glad they moved to the letters. I'm honestly really glad. That's one good thing out of this COVID thing, this COVID crap that they're now doing. They do letters now instead of doing the family visits. I think the whole family visit thing was so annoying to watch every season. So I guess it's toned down a little bit, but this episode, it wasn't really any less annoying. It just bothers me. There is one person in this episode who is extremely annoying, and who has been annoying this whole season, really. But this episode, it is unbelievably like, can you just stop talking, please? Like, just stop talking. And that is Jamie. Jamie is probably the most annoying person of this whole season. And it's just pure stupidity. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe they're editing her game in that way. It just makes make her look much stupider than she really is. I don't know. But they're playing up this whole thing of her thinking she had this idol and she gave it to Kane. And the story she tells to everybody in the end is, oh, I had my idol. I actually had an idol, everybody. I know I'm going to come clean. I had an idol, and I gave it to Kane, and he walked away with it. So I don't have an idol, guys. Trust me, I don't have an idol. I'll be real. It honestly sounds like a little bit of a silly story to get everyone to believe that she doesn't have an idol. And I can understand why there's some people on the tribe who are hesitant to believe her story. But it is true in a way. And it's also not true. You never had an idol, Jamie. You never had an idol to begin with. And I know she doesn't know that, but it is so damn funny to watch it. It is so hilariously sad. And she never had an idol. And Kane walked out with a fake idol. And I don't know if they'll ever know. I'm sure they'll know after they watch it. But you never had an idol. And they played up in this whole episode all the way until Tribal Council. She even brings it up at Tribal Council again. It's like, stop talking. You're not making your case any better. You're bringing up this whole story over and over to every single person on the tribe that you had this idol and you gave it to Kane and now I don't have it anymore. He walked away with it. You're not helping your case, okay? Now you're just making everybody think you have an idol even more. Like, just stop talking. Stop talking. It's bad. It's not good. So that was probably the most annoying thing of this episode. Now, after I saw Frannie end up win the first reward challenge, I thought she is the most threatening player probably, at least in terms of challenges in this game right now. And I don't really care if she goes or not. She's probably one of the bigger players, I would say, this season. I don't really care if she goes or not. As I said, I don't really have a favorite player this season as of yet, I guess. I don't know if I will. We're getting pretty close to the end. But she's one of the bigger players and she's doing really well at the challenges. And I thought if she doesn't win this immunity challenge, they would be stupid to not vote her out tonight, because voting her out tonight it just seems like the logical thing to do, especially when you get to those final immunity challenges where, you're winning your way into the final 4 and 3. It's like, if she's doing really good at these individual challenges, you might not want her to be there. And I just told myself, like, they should probably vote her out just to get her out. Get this challenge threat out, because obviously when you get to the individual game, the challenge threat becomes much more noticeable because you're fighting for your individual immunity, and at the end it matters. So that's something I did tell myself going into this. So going into the actual challenge itself, Carson actually ends up winning the challenge. So they go through like this weird challenge where they like have to the wiggle on the ground. They're all tied up and they have to like flop on the ground and get their things untied and whatnot. And they're all tied up. It's a very weird challenge. And then they get to a puzzle, and I don't know if it's because Carson just like practiced all the puzzles. I don't know if they've done this puzzle before or not. But if they haven't done this puzzle before, he is very good at puzzles. It's very, very clear. He's very, very good at them, and he wins this challenge extremely easily. Like, he wins it pretty easily. He almost messes up, and then he wins the challenge. It's a big star puzzle at the end. So Carson is the immunity challenge winner. So that means Frannie is not the winner of the challenge, and that even brings it further to my point, like, you need to get her out tonight. She's just challenge threat. She lost tonight. Get her out. So going into the final, going into the Tribal Council, before Tribal Council, the two names ultimately kind of getting thrown around there were Heidi and Frannie. I also heard Danny get thrown up in there a little bit, but ultimately it kind of came down to Frannie or Heidi before Tribal Council. It's kind of the two names I heard going into there. And again, right before they go and vote, Jamie ends up bringing up, as I mentioned, that she doesn't have her idol anymore. She tells the whole Kane story. It's like, stop talking, please. Just stop talking. You're not helping your game. And then they vote. So they vote, and ultimately, Frannie is the one going home tonight. So Frannie is the next person of the jury, and we're getting down there now in the numbers. A few episodes left, and I think it was a very good vote. I think it was a good vote, considering the challenge threat that Frannie is. Whether you liked her or not, I think in terms of the game, I think it was a pretty decent and good vote. I think it was just a good vote. It wasn't like anything exciting. It wasn't anything crazy or anything like that. It was just like, yeah, you should vote her out, and they did. So I'm glad they did that, because I would have been like, what the hell are you doing if you're going to vote out like Heidi or something like that? So it almost seemed like Heidi was going to go home with an idol in her pocket, a real one, not the fake one like Kane went home with. But she is still safe, so she still has her idol and she can still play it. And Frannie is the one going home. Also, something in this episode I noticed is it was very funny, because right after the challenge, Danny was mentioning that, like, okay, Frannie has lost. We need to get her out. Frannie is the next target. We're going to get her out of this game. It's like, dude, 2 episodes ago. Now, I thought it was a good play at the time, because it still was. Like, it worked out for him at the time. Like, he wanted her in the game still, so he saved her, and he saved her in that tribal council. Danny saved Frannie with his idol, and he gave up his idol that he would still have right now if he wouldn't use it. He used it on Frannie to save her just a little bit ago, and now he wants her out. It's like, okay, you got her out, good job, but you saved her 2 episodes ago. Like, what was the whole point of that? I don't know. There's some very weird playing in this season. I for a little bit I thought Danny would be kind of one of my favorite players, I guess, going into the end here. I can't really root for Danny that much. He's not like doing an extravagant job in this season, and as I mentioned, I think Jam Jam is one of the higher players of the season, and I wouldn't be too upset to see maybe him win or something like that. Like, I don't really know if I care at all really who wins anymore. It's like I don't really have a favorite player. I have an annoying player, that is Jamie, but Carolyn's kind of fallen off for me. I don't know why. She's just kind of like the same every week. It's kind of getting stale for me. It's like, okay, we saw this type of stuff with Carolyn last week. It's nothing new. She's really weird and whatever. So Carolyn, I could see her going to the end too. Carolyn, Jam Jam, and I don't know who's going to go to the end, but I could see Carolyn winning. I could see Jam Jam winning. We're going to have to see what happens, but I think Frannie would have had a really good chance on winning this game if she made it to the end. So I think it was a good vote tonight, and we'll see where the next vote and episode goes. But I think overall it was a pretty basic episode, nothing too insane or anything like that. Some really cringe moments with like the family letter stuff. I think it's cringe. They did like little flashback stuff too. And also the Jamie stuff was like, to stop. But I think it was a good vote overall, and I'm looking forward to seeing where they go next week. So still some bigger players in this season, but overall I don't really have a favorite player. Maybe that'll change, but it's just kind of like a kind of waiting for it to end kind of season. Like, all right, it's all right. It's not anything great, but it's not anything bad either. It's just kind of basic, so that's fine. I don't think any of the players are too likable, but we'll see where it goes. But on to week 11 of season 44.